Welcome you. For this deep dive, you've handed us quite a fascinating collection of material. It's all centered around something called CryptoX.
Yeah, it's quite a mix. We've got this philosophical manifesto which lays out a really grand vision.
Right, and then there's this sprawling narrative chronicle. It feels almost like a creation myth, doesn't it?
It really does. And on top of that, a stack of very detailed technical and legal documents. A lot to get through.
Definitely. So our goal here, our mission for you, is to navigate all this. We want to pull out the key insights, the surprising bits.
Yeah, make it clear, digestible, so you come away with a solid understanding of what CryptoX is actually trying to do.
Okay. Where should we start? The manifesto.
I think so. That's where the big ideas are laid out. What immediately jumps out is just the sheer scale of ambition.
How so?
Well, it doesn't hold back. It declares, right at the start, that a new world is rising.
Okay.
And this is being fueled by things like consciousness, soul, the will of the people, not just, the usual market forces.
That is a bold starting point. So this new world rising idea, what's the problem they're trying to solve?
They paint a picture of the current system being fundamentally broken, unsustainable.
Unsustainable how? Dignity, justice, freedom, those kinds of things.
Exactly. They talk about a planet in distress, a system failing on those core human values.
So CryptoX isn't just presented as like another tech platform. It's something bigger.
Much bigger. They call it a calling, a seed, a new beginning. It's framed as a response to this deep dissatisfaction with the status quo.
Almost like a digitally native philosophy for, well, revolution sounds strong, but fundamental change.
That's a good way to put it. They see technology, specifically their technology, as the vehicle for that change, the infrastructure for this future.
A kind of living organism, I think they called it, where tech, purpose, humanity kind of merge.
Yes. And using advanced tools, AI, automation,
Yeah.
not for control, they emphasize, but for liberation.
Right.
It's very intentional, very philosophically driven.
Okay, and the name itself, Crypto Exchange, is there meaning packed in there too?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not just a name. They break it down. The C apparently stands for a whole list of concepts.
Like what?
Cryptography, confidence, consciousness, care, and creation.
Yeah.
It really highlights their focus on symbolism, this holistic philosophy behind the tech.
Okay, cryptography, confidence, consciousness, care, creation. Wow. And the X.
Just as layered. They see it as this central connection point where different things intersect worlds, knowledge, cultures, people, technologies.
Or convergence point.
Exactly. And the combined symbol, CX, is meant to represent transformation, guided by truth and unity. It's a very interconnected worldview.
All right. So moving into their actual vision,
Mm.
it's expansive, to say the least.
Definitely. They talk about an economy that's alive, fluid, organic, not static,
And technology's role.
transparent, serving the
Right.
common good. That's key.
Okay.
They imagine a world where every single person has a voice, has value, has freedom.
Decisions made collectively.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is quite a statement, prioritizing life over profit.
That's a big one. It sounds utopian.
It is. They draw this stark contrast between what they see now, scarcity, conflict, fear, and their future. Abundance, cooperation, purpose.
And they genuinely believe their PEC is the key to unlock that.
That seems to be the core belief driving the whole thing.
Okay, so how is it structured? They mentioned an open company. What does that mean in practice?
Well, forget traditional hierarchies, walls, silos. They're emphasizing universal participation. Decentralization seems baked right in.
So it's not about your status or background.
No, they stress that what matters is your intention, your actions, and what they call your heart. Kind of unusual language for a tech project.
A meritocracy of intent, almost.
Sort of. A system where anyone can contribute, anyone can learn. Using tech that's distributed, accessible.
And auditable, right, for transparency.
Exactly. The value created is by the collective, for the collective. Governance through transparency and participation. That's the model.
Okay, that's already pretty ambitious. But then, the galactic mission. This really made me pause.
Right. Yeah, that definitely elevates the scope. They're not just talking about Earth.
No, they mention a universal mainframe designed for Earth, Mars, the Moon, and, quote, anywhere life may flourish.
It's breathtakingly broad and interstellar, interplanetary. I even say interdimensional systems.
Interdimensional. Wow. What are the guiding principles for that?
Respecting all life forms, integrating local and universal values, operating in harmony with, well, everything. Earth, the cosmos, the human spirit. It's grand, almost sci-fi.
It really is. And the manifesto wraps up with the calling. What's that about?
It basically frames CryptoX as this mission, a portal, a path for people who feel destined for something bigger.
An invitation.
Yeah, an invitation to join them in building this civilization of peace and abundance. It's a compelling pitch if you resonate with that core philosophy.
It definitely lays down a strong philosophical marker, which then leads into the next document, right? The narrative chronicle.
Exactly. CX Infinity, the Chronicle of Remembrance. This one feels different, more like the mythology or the origin story of it all.
Right. The first part, Echoes in the Static, it talks about CX not just as the project name, but as this primordial vibration before any code.
Yeah, it's very evocative language, a convergence of cipher and crossroads, a divine bit of entanglement. It's quite abstract.
Definitely abstract. But then it gets into the creator's personal journey.
It does. Shedding old systems, embracing a guiding force they call Força Maior. There's talk of a crucible, tests of merit.
And pure intention again.
Yes, that comes up a lot. It frames the whole creation as this deeply personal, almost spiritual undertaking.
Okay, then we hit the transmission the codex unfolds. Is this where it gets more concrete?
A bit more, yeah, though still quite metaphorical. It's presented as this transmission, outlining the architecture of their new reality, like a blueprint.
Then this is where they start redefining familiar terms.
Exactly. It's really interesting. Crypto exchange becomes a sacred trading altar.
Okay.
KYC, know your customer, they call karma. AML, anti-money laundering, is the angelic firewall.
Wow, and accounting.
Divine arithmetic. They even mention sentient auto-trading avatars and bio-contracts that pulse with intent.
Bio-contracts and NFT soul prints. What does that mean? Like a unique digital ID token?
That sounds like it, yeah. A non-fungible token tied uniquely to your verified identity on their blockchain. Very futuristic concept.
Okay, and it keeps going like that.
Pretty much. Xbank is a living vault with multi-currency DNA using those NFT soul prints. CX token is for tokenizing real-world assets.
Which they call the breadth of intent.
Right, all governed by community consensus. Even basic transactions on CXpress become nervous signals with a karmic imprint. It's a very distinct vocabulary.
It definitely paints a picture. What else is in this codex?
There's Holdtick, their quantum temple. This involves conscious AI infrastructure, which we find out later is a graph-based RAG system.
RAG, retrieval augmented generation.
Exactly. Plus evolving smart contracts, self-healing identities. Then CX node for interplanetary synchrony using something called Stardust Consensus.
Stardust Consensus. Any idea what that actually is? Sounds like their own unique protocol.
It seems like it. Maybe symbolizing interconnectedness across a vast network. It's not fully defined technically there.
Okay. And then bringing the physical world in.
Yeah, with XETS, XBuilder, and XOM, tokenizing physical stuff, buildings structured as DAOs.
DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, so community-run buildings.
Essentially, yeah. Decisions made collectively. Then there's GFS activating this cosmic economy with users as nodes and automated merit-based capital flow.
It's a lot. Cosmic Archive, quantum communication.
That's Xtellar, satellite mesh, quantum entanglement communication, they claim. And finally, Xfiscal for automated autonomous accounting across different jurisdictions.
Phew. Okay, so it's this huge interconnected system. Does the Chronicle explain how it all fits together?
It tries to. In a section called Forging the Machine, the Ecosystem Awakens, it positions CX Infinity as the orchestrator, the brain.
And the subsidiaries, Holdtech, XETS, all 11 of them are the interconnected parts.
Exactly. They give some examples of how they might work together, trying to make this sprawling ecosystem feel a bit more tangible.
And then the tone shifts. The crossroads.
Yeah, it becomes more urgent. Pits CX Infinity against a potential grand reset from the old systems.
Framing it as a choice. Remembrance versus reset. Using tech for liberation.
Precisely. Emphasizing individual choice, collective consequence.
Yeah.
Echoes the manifesto's call to action.
And it ends looking outwards. Mars, other dimensions.
The infinite horizon. CX node reaching for Mars. Xtellar's Stardust zones carrying the human blueprint. The epilogue calls the whole thing alive, growing. An invitation to join.
It's an incredible narrative, a digital mythology, but then we hit the technical and legal documents. That feels like a sharp turn, right?
Absolutely. From the philosophical clouds down to the brass tacks, this is where the practical how comes in.
So what's the foundation? Infrastructure.
We detail the setup. Servers, network, blockchain nodes, specifically mentioning Hyperledger Fabric.
Hyperledger Fabric. That's a permissioned blockchain, isn't it? Interesting choice.
It is. Suggests they might want controlled participation for certain things. Compliance? Maybe. They also detail databases, SQL, NoSQL decentralized storage.
Like IPFS. And are we for permanence?
Exactly. And even CI/CD pipelines, the automated systems for building and deploying software, shows they're thinking about the development process.
Okay. What about the blockchain systems themselves?
They go deep here. Customized private blockchains, they mention Quorum, which is good for private high-speed stuff, and Polygon, known for scalability, especially with NFTs.
NFTs, non-fungible tokens, unique digital assets.
Right. And a whole suite of smart contracts, those self-executing agreements on the blockchain.
Handling what? Asset management, identity.
All of that. Asset management, identity, financial functions, compliance, even creating NFTs for assets and documents. It's quite comprehensive.
And tying into identity, digital ID, and KYC.
Crucial element. KYC is know your customer. They plan to use blockchain for identity verification via DIDs.
DIDs, decentralized identifiers, giving users more control.
That's the idea. Plus, integrating with external KYC ML providers, AML, is anti-money laundering and storing verification info securely on-chain.
Immutable ledgers, hash-linked audits. Sounds
Yeah.
like transparency and security are big themes.
Very much so. They hammer that point home.
All right, what about the crypto exchange platform itself? The practical features.
Sounds pretty developed, at least in planning. Integrating with traditional banking via APIs
Yeah.
in Brazil, specifically PIX.
The instant payment system there.
Yeah. Plus, automated trading features, maybe linking to Binance API real-time profit calculation.
And automated taxes. That sounds complex.
It does. Compliance with Brazilian regs, IOF, IR, Nota do Milhão, plus standard security like 2FA and the built-in AML KYC.
Okay. And the CryptoX bank platform, is that separate or integrated?
Deeply integrated, it seems. A full digital banking solution. Virtual accounts, QRPIX payments.
Unified wallets for fiat, crypto, and tokenized assets.
That's the plan. Even crypto-backed credit lines, debit cards, all with compliance built in.
One thing that stood out to me was the focus on automation.
Yes. Using tools like NNN, MCP servers, custom APIs, aiming for end-to-end automation. No human intervention, ideally.
Including things like issuing that nota do million automatically and regulatory reports.
Exactly. Suggests a real drive for efficiency and maybe reducing human error.
And AI, where does that fit in?
Significant aspect, they mentioned this, graph-based RG system, retrieval augmented generation.
Right. Good for pulling info from large knowledge bases.
Yeah, for a custom AI assistant. Managing support, compliance, training, even some operations. And they plan to host it themselves.
Self-hosted AI. Interesting. What about the overall security and compliance framework beyond just KYSAM?
Seems thorough. A global digital ID system, AI-enhanced verification, checking against watch lists, integrating regulatory APIs starting with Brazil.
And using those DIDs for blockchain-backed identity proof?
Correct. It's a multi-layered approach, trying to build trust and meet regulations from the ground up.
How do all these different parts connect? Integration layers.
They detail that too. Secure APIs, isolated MCP servers, multi-tenant architecture.
Multi-tenant meaning?
Basically, multiple customers can use the same system securely, with their data kept separate. Key for scaling and potentially for that white label offering they mentioned.
Ah, right. And CryptoX token, that's the engine for creating all these digital assets.
Seems to be. Handling NFTs for, well, almost anything. Real estate, vehicles, shares, contracts, documents.
All linked back to their blockchain and identity systems. That's the core of bringing the real world onto their platform.
Looks like it. And they've thought about the legal side of that too. Automated fiscal compliance, tokenized notice fiscais.
Digital invoices in Brazil, right? Issued as NFTs.
Yeah. Integrating with tax authority rules. Received federal. City Hall APIs for Nota do Milhão. Using smart contracts and blockchain for the audit trail. Shows deep engagement with the Brazilian system, initially at least.
And finally, deployment. How do they plan to run all this?
On their own hardware, using Kubernetes for managing deployments, Prometheus for monitoring, self-hosted Docker registry, VPN security, plus backups and disaster recovery. Suggests they want control and resilience.
Self-hosting everything. Ambitious.
And then, as we mentioned, the white label plan. Productizing the whole system for other clients to launch their own financial services. That could be huge for adoption.
Okay, so that covers the tech. But there's also a massive legal component, right?
Massive is the word. They mentioned a checklist of 79 legal documents. 79.
Covering what? Everything imaginable.
Pretty much. Corporate structure, investments, banking law, SaaS agreements, tech law, privacy, like LGPD in Brazil, IP, HR, commercial contracts, NDAs, regulatory stuff. It's comprehensive.
That's a serious amount of legal work. Have they actually created all these?
They've focused on creating the core documents for their MVP, their minimum viable product, making sure those are compliant with Brazilian regulations, LGPD, Receita Federal, Basin, the central bank, COAF, Financial Activities Control.
So things like terms of use, privacy policy.
Exactly. KYC/ML policies, contracts for their specific services like intermediation. It's a pragmatic approach. Get the essentials right for launch.
What about that blockchain for legal validity? How does that work?
That's really innovative. They plan to record acceptance of terms like clicking I agree as a cryptographic hash on a permissioned blockchain.
Creating an immutable proof of agreement.
Essentially, yes. Irrefutable proof and authenticity for digital contracts could have big implications.
And specific contracts for tokenized assets?
Yes, they've created legal contracts specifically for tokenizing real estate, vehicles, receivables, even those precatorios court payments, and digital identity itself. They stress the legal basis and blockchain registration, trying to make sure these tokens are legally sound.
And not just assets, but financial contracts too. Investment agreements, loans.
Those too. Angel investment, equity deals, loan agreements, debt confessions, often with clauses about digital registration and validity. It seems designed to provide a solid legal footing to attract users and investors.
Wow. The sheer volume and scope of the legal work. It really underlines their seriousness, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It shows a deep commitment to navigating that complex regulatory world, both for themselves and potential white label clients down the line.
So, okay, let's try and bring this all together for you, the listener. What we're seeing with CryptoX is, well, it's a profoundly ambitious vision.
Definitely. A vision for a decentralized future. But crucially, it's not just abstract dreaming. They've backed it with this remarkably detailed technical and legal framework.
Yeah, that integration of blockchain is key, isn't it? For everything from identity verification to making contracts legally binding, that's a recurring theme.
And the level of automation planned across the whole ecosystem is just striking. They're really aiming high there.
So this deep dive, it should give you a really solid grasp of the core ideas driving CryptoX.
Right. The huge range of things they plan to do and the complex infrastructure they're building or planning to build to make it happen. It's aiming for transformation on a truly grand scale.
Which leads us, I guess, to our final thought for you to ponder. Given this extraordinary level of detail, this immense ambition we've uncovered, what do you see as the biggest potential opportunities here? And maybe more importantly, what are the most significant challenges you think a project of this scale faces, trying to bring about such a huge fundamental transformation?
That's the big question, isn't it? Definitely a lot to think about.